Well, good evening, and good evening. Welcome to another episode of the Upfront Mind, Body, Soul podcast. Thank you for joining tonight because guess what? Tonight is the final episode of our season 5. And listen, it has been a very great joy this year. So it's time to take a break. But guess what? There will still be periodically stuff that'll be coming up, popping up. You know, Dr. Hammond here always has something going on. But I just want to say we're ending it on a note to give you something to think about because we know how our world is changing. And what better way is to bring my sister friend, Dr. Karen, here with us here tonight, and we're going to be talking about a great subject on social justice. But as the social justice is talking about, I want you to be keen audience, and you might want to go grab a couple people for it because it's going to be something that you can know to understand, because I think it's very important that we understand the social justice call, because we know a lot of things are happening, a lot of twists have been going on, but we still a strong people.
That's it.
We still a resilient people.
Built to last, baby. Built to last.
So again, Dr. Ray, explain to the audience who you are and what you do, because this is the last season, so I want them to know, because when you come back next season, we want them to be head of the game.
Okay. All right. For those who don't know, I am RayeQueen, Dr. Ray, however you want to call me. It's fine. I am the founder of Holistic Professionals of Color, as lovingly referred to as HPOC, the association and the school. And so as the founder of HPOC University, we have a history of teaching how to heal, different modalities that offer natural, holistic, and alternative ways of healing, specifically designed to address and include the BIPOC community.
So. Yes. So we know that some of that terminology that we shouldn't be using now. So, but we still keeping it strong, because there is a community of people of color that has been here and will remain here.
Mm-hmm.
And the way things are changing, it's going to be a lot more to outweigh. So I think it's a lot. We're learning the social justice that's coming up here at HPOC. It's going to be very important that you understand, because I know there's fear, because again, there's a lot of people of color here. It has really is booming. So that's what the fear is, but it's great minds. So you're here actually too, because this is like the self-care corner as well. She has played a pivotal part in us with giving us some certifications. Like she said, at HPOC, she's the founder. So when I talk about HPOC, a lot of people are like, wow, I didn't even know that existed. But now you do.
Now you do. Now you
do. And I'm a mouthpiece for it. So I love it when I go there. Oh, I didn't even know that existed. And I mean, these are like people like chiropractors who are of color. They don't even know that this existed, but now they do know. But one of the things, like we said at HPOC, there are a lot of treatment modalities the holistic way, but you have something special, which is Social Healing Justice School, that's going to be coming up. So can you give the audience, so what is the Social Healing Justice School at HPOC, and why was it created?
Yes. So I'm excited to talk about it because it's intimately connected to what we've already been doing, but it is a new school of thought. And so the Social Healing Justice School at HPOC is brand new. We just launched it a couple of weeks ago, not even a full 2 weeks ago. And it's a subset of certifications that focuses on truth telling, if you will. Truth telling, cultural reclamation, expressing historical mistreatments, if you will. And so, unlike our traditional programs, which are focused on metaphysical and holistic healing modalities, these programs focus on how racism, criminalization, colonization, and historical traumas have impacted health, food, spirituality, our legal rights to practice, because for some reason, people are just realizing that racism affected holistic health as well. It's not just in education and hospitals and all the things we hear about constantly. It affects holistic health as well. And so we created this school because healing isn't just physical or spiritual. Healing is historical. Healing is social. Healing is a collective. And so we need to address those aspects as well. And not everybody's meant to be a healer, quote unquote, but all of us have a voice that could be used in the wellness space to advocate for our healing. And so that's why it was created.
Wow, you just said something on there because with this Nottoway thing that happened with this plantation burning down, right? So if this hadn't, that's a great example of that. People are like, we didn't even know that. We look at this place as being a place to do weddings. We didn't look at, but now because it burned down, now the truth telling is really coming out. Who built the place? It's a lot of history that is out here that has been erased. Because like I just shared a conversation with someone the other day. My brother-in-law like, were you into that? I was like, I've always been a history buff, been a history buff. But it took me till 2018 to realize, because they never told us. Again, I always bring it, several times about the Black Panthers. They always made us feel like they were the worst type of people. They were bad. But that's how the sickle cell were formulated, to know how to treat it. They were being sent for a holistic way approach to treat it back in the neighborhoods with using acupuncture. And then why you got the WIC program,
Right.
You got that. That's how the WIC program got formulated. But those things, like I said, truth telling, and then where this museum I learned this information in is now being part of, to be taken away. So we got to know this. So I commend you for putting this out.
And that the Black Panther Party, actually, they were the original social healing justice people, right? Yes. They were the original. You think about it, I'm biting their style because they did exactly what we're trying to do, address it from a different perspective. You know what I mean?
Different perspective.
They have the treatment aspect to it, but they took healing into their own hands. They took legislation and advocacy into their own hands and created the programs that the government still uses to this day.
Yeah. So that's the importance to know. Again, my mind was blown away because I think it was like a lot of levels of the floor. I only got to the third. I stopped in that area. I was like, because even reading how the colonization started, how it went from one place, and how the Moors sold it in. It was phenomenal. And then the sugar, that was the gold. Yeah. Back then, the sugar was the gold. Sure. And then I was like, well, and you said something too about the trauma stored. A lot of people don't believe that, you might, you go back to where your ancestors was. That's crossed down in your cells and your genes, but that's a whole nother program. Yeah. That's a whole nother program. But so the next question is, so with this social healing justice school, how are these certifications different? Because you mentioned, there's metaphysical science, and then you also do the holistic health programs. How is this program going to be different?
Okay. So historically, our programs focused on healing practices, right? Like you can learn about how to use herbs, how to use sound healing, how to use aromatherapy, all those different healing modalities. We're taught, even spiritual guidance, right? We taught from that perspective. Now, this is, like I said earlier, more about education, awareness. Excuse me. These courses really explore medical racism, right? It's about the injustice connected to all these different holistic healing modalities.
Okay. So listen, as you said, the truth. What is the truth when we talking about this? The truth is, and it's I just the conversations have been mind blowing for me here, Dr. Ray, for the past couple weeks because it's like, we talk about medicine when you, like you said, you share it with medicine, right? So the truth is, a lot of people don't want to say this, but you look at the people look at Egypt, right? Those were the master astrologists. They were the masters of mathematicians. They were the masters because, again, people still trying to know how to mummify. Those folks did operations in the mummification because if not, people wouldn't want to be going to Egypt to see these mummies.
Yeah.
The bodies and stuff are still intact, preserved. So a lot of that came from a person of color.
Right.
Person of color, but again.
And that's one of those truths that we have to learn because that's one of the differences because these certifications are going to give students the knowledge they need to have the historical knowledge to put everything into a social context that makes it easier to advocate for these practices. Yeah, you need to know that history.
You need to know that history. And she's telling the truth because I took the deaf doula and I've also taken the regular doula, being and I will say when talking the birth doula class, when you talk about the modalities of how a doula was anyway, but then again, we had a midwife years ago before it became the nursing per se, because there was one lady who went from town to town delivering babies, right? And then because she was doing it so well, we changed. They have to get certified. You got to do this. You got to do that. But now we having issues with people of color, low birth weights, and children dying, babies dying from African American women. A low birth weight is always an issue with that. But then now we're reaching into services now for the doula services. Well, that's been way back then. It's just how the culture, there's modalities. We have to, again, when you're talking about whitewashed it's been taken away as something that's bad, that you have to do that. But then we look how many babies were healthy then,
Oh, and then they took it away. They mislabeled it. They said it was evil, it was bad, that it was unscientific, not valid, so we couldn't do it. That was the argument. But then they took the exact same practices, right? Repackage it in a pretty little colonized package, and now they're gatekeeping it. Now, why nurses and doctors and nurse practitioners are doing these same practices they told us were bad.
Right.
And then keeping the original stewards of this information, they're preventing us from practicing entering these spaces anymore, putting these legislations in place. That's why we need social healing justice. That's why.
That's why. So, next question before we go, what kinds of topics will the students study in this new program?
Ooh, so good topics. I get excited about this. I'm passionate about it. But one thing I will say is when we were creating this, I really got to tap into my sociology degree. I have a master's degree in sociology that I never thought I'd really use, but it's funny how your life comes full circle, all these things you've done in your past. Now I'm using it. So anyway, some of the topics are things like medical experimentation, right? We all know about that. We know about the book Medical Apartheid. We know about the Tuskegee syphilis program. There's so many other medical experimentation programs other than Tuskegee Airmen, right? So you're going to learn about some of the medical experimentation. You're going to learn about the criminalization, like we were just talking about, of midwives and doulas and herbalists, how they actually made it criminal for us to practice it. They didn't just take it and steal it and use it. They actually made it illegal for us to continue to have those practices. So you're going to learn about the history of that. You're going to learn about food apartheid. Food apartheid is a real thing, and how they use land as a way to disconnect us from our own natural healing. Because when you think about it, you take away people's land, you take away their food, you take away their medicine, you take away their sovereignty, right? So we cover a lot of those different topics. We talk about reproductive oppression and forced sterilizations, right? Enslaved Black women had to experience forced sterilizations without any type of anesthesia or numbing agents at all. They were experimenting on us, right? Liberation theology, one of my favorites that I worked on was the liberation theology. And so we tap into how the role of faith in our resistance, right? Our faith-based institutions were always at the forefront of leading movements against the racist practices that we were victims of, right? So we really study that. You get to dive, Michelle, you would love it. You would love that class because you really dive into like the history of Christianity and its connection with holistic healing practices. It's awesome. Internalized oppression, environmental racism. There's a lot of the different aspects because, you know, until now, we never thought about it. Like I said earlier, how these practices really impacted us from a holistic perspective.
You just got me thinking about when you talked about the environmental. You think about, okay, you had our soldiers go over fight this war that wasn't really our war, right? But then they promised you were going to come back and get lands and homes, but then yet you redline.
Mm-hmm.
You redline. And you can look at Baltimore City. I know a lot of my folks get upset. You can look at Baltimore City, how it's in a crush, right? And then now look at it. It's a lot of poverty there. You know, it's a lot of stuff going on that, you know, again, you put people in these areas to keep them bunched, right? But then you talk about the sterilization. Now, just like in China, there's with certain, you can only limit it now to certain kids. Well, then I learned last week, now they're trying to push women to get pregnant now because they don't have enough, you know, to really move on with growing their, you know, their communities because they were only allowed to have a certain amount of children, right? So that is the stuff that we need to be understanding. Food insecurity, you're right. Because even though our Native American, Indian people were here, they had to really rebust and move. They moved to, okay, we'll put you here, but we take away. But again, that it's a lot. It's a lot. Oh, and
very intentional.
Like, it's a lot. It is a lot. So someone who here tonight may be watching and saying, well, what is this all about? You know, so basically, who is this for?
Ooh, it's for anyone who wants to understand the deeper roots of injustice, right? Because like I said earlier, we have some surface information. But if you really want to go deeper, if you're a history buff, like you said you are, Dr. Michelle, and you really want to go deeper into the knowledge of the unjust practices that happen within our wellness system, is for you. If you're already a healer, already working in one of the modalities like herbalism or aromatherapy, it's a nice way to complement your practice. Because if you profess to be a BIPOC healer, you should know this information. You should know why it's necessary for us to even call ourselves BIPOC healers, because it's very necessary. If you're an educator, a student, an activist, a community leader, I mean, this is a history buff. This is for you because it really does tap into some untapped territory when you talk about it from this perspective. It's a good way to reclaim our history. It's a really good way to reclaim our history and use our education in a powerful way that allows us to dismantle systems of racism.
It's wonderful, wonderful to know. It's very good that we need to get into the loop of understanding this. I'm telling you, my eyes have been open so much since taking upon 2 years ago. I'm so glad that I was aligned during the middle of the night to see it come on. And then what I do, I reached out. I said, look, I got to see what's really going on here. So, and it's been a whoa. So look, Dr. Raye, we're going to take a quick break. But what you're going to see next is something that, you know, we want you to be aligned with and be a part of for 2026. So we're going to take a quick break and we are going to be right back.
Women's Retreat, April 2026. A sacred escape to reconnect, rise, and reclaim your power. Are you ready to pause, breathe, and come home to yourself? Join a powerful circle of women for a soul deep retreat designed to help you reconnect with your inner wisdom, restore your energy, and rise fully anchored in your divine power. What to expect? Soul nourishing workshops, guided meditation and breathwork, empowering conversations, nature, stillness and sacred ritual, sisterhood, support and transformation. This is more than a retreat. It's a homecoming to the woman you were always meant to be. Join your conference host Dr. Michelle Boden Hammond, the Mind Body Soul Connector. April 7th, 11th, 2026.
I can't wait for that.
Chuck, secret out the bag. Chuck, can I let the secret out? So this phenomenal lady will be one of the speakers for that retreat next year. We had a blast. So hit us up, hit me up, contact me through the email. We are looking forward for another great time. Again, with some treatment modalities, having fun, uplifting your mind, your body, and your soul. So look, we're going to take another break because, again, I want you to see something about healing modalities. It's just not about witchcraft, but it is a craft. So we're going to take another break and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul, where I'm your host, Dr. Michelle Boden Hammond, and I am here with Dr. RayeQueen Haymore, who is here, who is the founder of H-Pop University. And this is where we're going to say these questions that'll be answered. And you can't find it, but you can go right to that website right there. You can call that number right there. Because listen, I think you're going to want to do this social justice and healing program. Here we go. Mm-hmm. So there where you can reach the information. But here we have the next question, Dr. Ray. It is, what is one of the most powerful certifications being offered right now? Can I answer it? Can I answer
it? Can you ask? Go ahead.
Can I answer it? All of them. All of them.
All of them. That's a good answer. I like your answer better than mine. Let's go with that
one. All of them. Listen, I will tell you, and I say it again, you guys, this has been a life-changing. I look at a whole lot of things a lot different now. And I've been places to talk about it, and other people are getting a little hemp about it, but all of them are detrimental to you. Dr. Ray said one of the other sections that I'll be loving, but I just want us to do better. And I'm not saying, I'm not knocking nobody with their belief in, because again, but I will say that you need to bring forth of a opening of your mind. Yeah. Bring forth an opening of your mind, because I tell you, a lot of stuff that we've been told necessarily has not been the truth. Yeah.
It was not to keep us down. That was the whole premise of it.
So again, I'm going to go back to that question. And the truth is, study to show yourself approved, because again, you got to look to things yourself. Don't just look at the person telling you, but you got to really dig deep. And I just think that when you read, make sure you're reading correctly, or just looking at not the perspective of what someone told you. Feel with how your spirit is leading you.
Yes.
And you know what? Because we talked about this another night, because it's a big hoopla with a big movie right now But again, the truth is that was necessarily what we were practicing, back then. And then I just say it like this: if you talking about you sweep your feet and you spit on a broom, and I know now here I go. I'm just gonna say it. If you one of them who grew up in a culture where your grandmama or your great grandmama, your auntie moo or whoever said that, or don't put that purse on the floor.
Oof.
Wait a minute. Or I'm just saying that's a hoodoo practice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you didn't know that. You just went along with it. So
Exactly.
yeah, you just let
Or if
along
you
with
gargle
it.
with salt water,
Right.
you're a holistic healer. If you've
Yeah.
ever used salt water for your sore throat,
Right.
you're a holistic healer.
Yeah, you holistic healer. It's just that you didn't know what you're doing, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But I
But
will say one of the classes called Historical Trauma and Holistic Justice is I had a good time with that one because it really talks about how trauma lives in the body, which we know as healers that trauma lives in the body, but it also lives in the community. And it's also passed down generationally, right? And because it's often misdiagnosed or ignored in allopathic medical systems, it never gets addressed. And it constantly contributes to these health disparities because we're not looking at how trauma lives in the body. And so it does touch on that, but it also touches on how it connects to justice, how that historical traumas are directly a result of systemic racism, right? And so we have to look at it from both sides in order to heal it. So
yeah, that's one of the things. The body keeps score. And
Cool.
people don't believe that, but the body keeps score. That's why you're seeing so much of the traumatic, stress relief. I'm gonna tell you, I went to stretching. Had somebody do somatic stretch on me at the stretch place that last week. I'm telling you, I slept really well. I slept really well, and not only that, I can remember some of my tears coming down. You know what I mean? And that was a release. You just overwhelmed, you work, you worrying about other stuff that's going on. I'm just keeping it real. I'm telling the truth. But sometimes you need that, in order to do that. And that was a holistic way, a holistic approach to it. So, why is this type of education is needed more than now than never?
Because we are watching history repeat itself. I have something in my throat. Sorry.
That's okay.
We're watching history repeat itself in so many ways. And you guys know, I'm not going to get political on this call, but we know that there are some attacks, right, on our reproductive rights, on our cultural appropriation, on BIPOC communities, period. There are some real live attacks happening to us right now. And if we don't address it, we're going to find ourselves in a situation again next year, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Our children, our grandchildren, they're going to find themselves fighting the same fight. And one of the things we haven't done historically when we found ourselves in these positions is that we haven't built our own tables in this space. We have been constantly begging for a seat at their table. And when we get a seat at their table, we're at their mercy. They could take that seat away whenever they want to, and they've shown that to us. And so this time around, we are going to build our own tables so that we don't have to, be at their mercy any longer. And so it's needed right now because we need to be aware. We need to understand exactly what's going on and how to deal with it differently. Right. We have to become the stewards of our own health, of our own land, of our own healing practices. We just have to do it.
Right. That's absolutely true. Absolutely true. So again, what legacy do you hope that the Social Healing Justice School will leave behind?
Lord Jesus. I'll reiterate what I just said. I really want to change history with this. The next time somebody decides they don't want us in their playground or in their schools or in their hospitals or in their politics, that's okay because we have our own schools and our own hospitals and our own politics. right? And so, in order to do that, though, we have to understand history. That's a Sankofa principle. If you don't know where you're coming from, you're not going to know where you're going. And so
That's
we
right.
really need to tap into not just history, because a lot of us know the history. A lot of us know the history, but the social healing justice aspect of those histories. That's what we have to tap into in order to create a lasting institution that survives generations and generations and generations and generations. You know?
Wow. Well, audience, this is the bomb right here. And I'm glad to say that this is the last episode for the season, but we're taking a break. And the reason why is it's good to know to take the break. It's good to take the break because I need to replenish, I need to refurbish, and that's what we need to do. I'm all about the self care. But just in case, there will be some exclusive things. I will tell you, go to this website, go seek and take this class because it'll be very informative to you in a long way. And it actually will bring generational wealth in your mind, your body, and your soul. It's just that everyone people think about wealth, it's always just blah, 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 but that's not true. It's all around the whole thing. So,
Yeah.
Dr. Karen, I want to say thank you so much for joining us as our guest on the season 5. Looking forward to season 6.
Me too.
And is there anything else that you would like to say before we end the show?
No, I just want to say if you're interested, like she said, go to that website. If you've never thought about being a healer, but you've always loved history, this is for you. And we need those strong history buffs who advocate to help the healers out, right? So if that's you, come on, come join the HPI family.
All right. All right. All right. And then there's a big conference that's coming out. So, again, we have something for you in line. I just want to tell you the truth is what is the truth? The truth is the Social Healing Justice School for HPOC. So there you go. The truth is, there it is. We're not letting history repeat itself.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I want to flip the adage really quickly before you go. We always talk about speaking truth to power. We're going to start speaking power to truth.
ooh,
That's it. We're not speaking truth to power no more. We don't need their power. We're going to speak power to truth.
All right now. You heard that? Look, she just dropped the mic.
Bam.
Bam. So until next season in September, we will be back, but there will be one exclusive in the light of August that you want to be in. I will have it out there. But until then, I want to say have a safe and happy summer. Be safe out here. And again, what she just said, speak power to the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Until next season, season 5, we are rolling on out. Until then, again, have a great week to head and a great summer. See you in the fall.